2 months ago, 8 weeks ago. They was in there praying, they walked away from that. So I'm going to share their story on how the Most High baraked them. Hallelujah. Thank you. My name is Jalen for now. And this is my wife, Kaida. And we are so grateful to be here.
All right, shalom, y'all.
Just overjoyed with the love that we've gotten. One of the things I was telling my wife.
Go ahead, get in there.
Shalom. I'm here with the general of spiritual combat, General Michael Israel. Y'all tune in. Dalton, man, he's gonna bring
share a scripture really quickly.
Info. They call
Proverbs
it human
14:6. A scorner seeketh
Y'all check him
wisdom
out.
and findeth
And this
it
your
not.
boy, your hooking on
But
Yahshua,
knowledge
Rhema
is
word
easy
clothing.
unto him that understandeth.
Get your gift.
That was really important because for this faith, I come from a deep history of Christianity.
So yeah, y'all, we are back from our break. We had a breakout session. All the men talked about certain issues and topics, and the women also broke off and they talked about their topics. And now we are getting ready to get started with Ron Dalton's presentation. So you see him over there. He's over there getting ready, getting everything hooked up, working the bugs out, and we'll be getting started here momentarily.
My heart,
Hey,
really imparted this wisdom into our lives. He really used my wife in a great way to bring this to me to where it's settled.
Brother's giving a testimony.
Most things. It settled on my heart just like it was just, like she came in one day saying, I think we should really look into this. I'm like, I think we should too. And that generally just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. And so we truly praise God. We praise him for bringing us to the truth. We praise him. And I'm going to let my wife share it. You don't need to say anything. But Torah, we praise him. Thank you. Hallelujah. All right, now for the men, I need to know where did my notebook go with all the names and numbers and stuff. That's what happens, man. It happens every gathering. Start passing around your notebook, you never see it again. Can somebody please find my green notebook? I need it. Somebody grab that for me.
So you know, Feast of Tabernacle. That's it. It's unbelievable here, my folks. Israel is 70th year as a nation. President Donald Trump.
Okay, so we're going to be starting here in about 5 minutes. Toda you, for those of you that stayed around, appreciate the support. You're about to get fed a lot of historical facts.
On May 14, 2018, the 70th anniversary of the establishment of Israel as a nation. Then, if that wasn't enough, we had the longest blood moon of the century directly over Jerusalem.
Yeah, so we getting ready to get started here. Ron's getting ready to get started with his presentation. So y'all enjoy. Let me see the picture.
SpiritualCombat TV, teaching on living for the nation instead of the organization at the 2015
At a breakout session. I'm gonna have to carve out a little area.
Man, boy, seeing these pics and getting nervous.
Yeah. Set up here. Get it started momentarily. Need help?
I'm just trying to find it. Hold on.
I don't want to be in nobody's way. That spot.
Is the audio?
Audio? Yeah. It was good when we checked it before.
All right, I don't hear the audio. I don't hear it.
All right. All right, pause it. All right, watch out. All right.
Is that the screen?
No, you need to go like this. Hey, hold on. There we go. Just wait. Let it wait, and it should just be. There we go.
Turn it all the way up so we can control from over here. Just leave your body the same. Don't change. Turn it all
There
the
you
way
go.
up. Yeah, turn it all the way up. You got it all the way
All
up.
right, y'all gonna see some. There's gonna be some good stuff. I think it's showing the one in shred. Hey, Ron, we good to turn the lights out?
Yeah, we gotta turn the lights off.
Hey, somebody kill the lights on both sides?
Where's the microphone?
He needs a mic. That was Sonny. This yours? No? Oh. Don't be eating the pizza, man. Oh, okay. Oh, that's yours?
It's gonna be like standing. No volume. Yeah, you don't get to see up in here. You need to get over. It's gonna be like this.
No, we good.
Better see it happen.
Yeah.
Mic work?
I think you have, Ron. Just turn it on. Turn it on.
There it is.
Sure.
That's it.
All right, shalom. All right, so shalom. It's always some technical glitches every time I go somewhere. All right, so raise your hands. Anybody seen the movie Hebrews to Negroes? Yeah. All right, cool. All right, so this mic's gonna keep going in and out. Is there another mic? Is this the only mic we have?
You got the wire
batteries in there, right? Yeah, you know, when they shake it up, that's what the battery coming home. Make sure the battery's nice. Just keep it. You should be fine.
Okay. All right, so I'm not gonna show you the whole movie.
You got a lot of bass in your voice. Just
Like this?
Yeah.
Okay. Testing. So I'm not gonna show the whole movie. I'm gonna give you like a preview of this mic keeps going out.
Use the wire, Mike.
The wire won't reach all the way
okay.
there. It's not, the cord's not that long.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm not gonna show the whole movie, just the beginning part, and then we'll get into the slide presentation. So this movie is called Hebrews to Negroes 2, Revelation, the Age of Awakening. And so the first movie that we did, it proved that we're the descendants of the real children of Israel by proving who are the sons of Ham and who are the sons of Shem a little bit, and then giving proof onto the Bantus people in Africa, meaning the so-called Negro, and the connection between Israel, the migration into Africa, East Africa, West Africa, South Africa, and then through the slave trades. And then showing the different language, DNA, traditions and customs, oral histories to prove that we are the real people of the book. So in this movie, it's gonna be a lot different. And this movie might be more controversial and more talked about by the nations than the first movie. Because the first movie, it's okay when you talk about we're the Israelites, you know, they'll let us talk all day long and say we're the Israelites. But when you start to put the magnifying glass on them, on who are the Ashkenazi Jews, who are the Sephardic Jews, who are the white Arabs, who are the black Arabs, proving that they're not Shemites, because they use the term, the people who use the term anti-Semite or Shemite, it's typically the Jews, and then the Arabs will say, well, wait a minute, we're Shemites too, so we can't be anti-Shemite, because we are Shemites. And of course, a lot of the Arabs will tell you they're descendants of Ishmael, most of them, if they're Islam, Muslim. So this movie is gonna change the game and prove who they really are, biblically. And you'll see in the presentation that it's important that we understand who is who in the Bible. So when we look at the news, CNN and Fox 2 News, we're looking at Israel, we're looking at America, we're looking at Iran, we're looking at other countries.
One second, I just need one quick second. One quick second. Okay, sorry to interrupt. Something just brought to my attention. We had to rent a microphone with this building in here. And I wanted to ask, has anybody seen a wireless mic? I think it's like a silver one. Huh? Oh, it's on the podium. Hallelujah. Okay. That's just the one. Yeah, that's the one we need right there. All right, turn it out. Cozy, turn it out. Hey, Ron. I don't think this one may not be that good though.
No, I hear it though.
Don't worry about it.
Where the volume at? Where the volume control at? No, I don't hear it. Where the sound is.
You should have, that's gonna be better.
Okay. All right, so let's go. Let me just come and play it, and then we'll get into the teaching. Because when you look at Israel, are the people in Israel now the children of Israel? No. Okay, so are the people in Egypt today, are they Egyptians? No. Are the people in Iraq or Babylon, are they the original Babylonians? No. Okay, so the people that are in Iran or meets Persia, are they the real Persians from King Cyrus and Darius? Somebody said some of them? Okay. Okay, so when we look at the scripture, and it talks about Gog and Magog, it talks about the bands of Togarmah, it talks about Prince Rosh and Meshach and Gomer and all these nations, and Ashur, and we need to understand who they are. And so this movie and following movies are going to break it all down. Because when we read the Bible about end times biblical prophecy, we need to understand who the Confederate is, who the Edomites are, who the Ishmaelites are. We need to understand who Gog and Magog is, who is Ashur that help us the children of Lot in the Bible, even Babylon. So this movie's going to do so, and it's going to make a lot of people upset, but it's time for the truth to come out. And this is not based on opinion, this is all based on facts. All based on facts. So I don't have to say I believe this and I believe I can prove it. And this is what they don't want people to see, especially black folk and other people that's in the Christian church or the Abrahamic religions, such as Islam, Judaism, and Christianity, because everybody believes in the foundation of Abraham and his sons in the three Abrahamic religions. So this is the beginning of the movie Hebrews 2, Revelation, the Age of Awakening.
Wait till he gets the camera. You good? John, you good?
You want the whole screen, right?
That's good.
That's good?
Yep. All right.
Okay.
Sound.
Mike.
Got it?
Hold on, Mike.
Okay.
I'm familiar with them sounds.
Yeah.
That's hard work. It's not easy. I'm not gonna say it's easy, but he needs to get equipment.
All right. Do y'all want the bass or no bass? I don't care.
We want the information.
Information over base.
Information over base. But he can't get it.
Start over.
Against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of the world, and against spiritual wickedness in high places. So as we can see, for believers, spiritual warfare is a way of life. Some even call it spiritual combat. Spiritual combat, baby!
You know that, boy.
We've run so long, it's going down.
So the movie's going to premiere July 11th in Detroit. So how many people is going to be there? Okay, it's a great Awakening Hebrews and Eagles Mega Conference. So let me just go.
Have the lights on. Echo?
Huh? No, keep the lights on.
All right.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about DNA. So I want people to really pay attention to how I break down the DNA, because people can say, like the Arabs can say, we're the Egyptians, our ancestors built the pyramids. The Jews can say, we're the real Israelites. We speak Hebrew, we keep Torah, and we've had the Torah for over 1,000 years, and all these different things. And a lot of people, sometimes they get stumped when they say all this stuff. They say, well, you know, he's right, they can speak Hebrew, they do keep the Torah, they have been there, they live in Israel, they claim to have all these different sages, they wrote these books in Hebrew, like different rabbis. But when you dive into their history, their DNA, the scientific parts about their hair, their blood type, their diseases that they have, you can really uncover who they really are. And that's what I like to do. I like to uncover different layers. So when people say there's levels to this, like the rapper, I think Meek Mill, there's levels and layers to this. And you just have to go deep. So when you look at the Israelites, okay, so if another nation comes to Africa, like a group of men, and they rape a lot of the black women that's there, when they have children, the maternal DNA that's passed down to the children from rape doesn't change from the woman. The woman is still a black woman, she just now has a biracial child. But she still passes down that maternal DNA from her mother or her grandmother all the way down to her seed. So that doesn't change in the case of invasion of another nation to another land. So when you look at the DNA of the Sephardic Jews and the Ashkenazi Jews, their DNA is these are all European DNA, what they call haplogroups. So that means that the women that birth the Ashkenazi Jews and Sephardic Jews, their DNA is no different than any European living in France and Germany and Belarus and Finland and Norway and Sweden, all these different European countries. It's the same. Even though they claim that if your mother's a Jew, then you're a Jew, and according to Judaism law. So that means that based on this, that everybody in Europe is a Jew, because they all have the same European DNA. But essentially what happened is that they're essentially Europeans that converted to Judaism. And they learned Hebrew and they learned the Torah and the ways of the Israelites. And so you look at this DNA, this is from the father, paternal DNA. So most black people today, if your ancestors were slaves and they were taken from West Africa, you'll have the Y DNA, E1B1A. Some people might have R1B, but for most times black people men will have E1B1A. There's another DNA type which corresponds to the Edomite influence, which is E1B1B. And so you'll see this DNA found in high frequencies in North Africa, in the Middle East, in Mediterranean Europe, and also in Levant, like in Israel, Lebanon, and Palestine. See, Palestine, Lebanon, Morocco, even the Somalians. Ethiopia, it's the twist to that. I'm not going to explain what they did with that. But they're very clever in how they report DNA findings. Even in the Balkan area, Serbia, Romania, Bosnia, Italy, Macedonia, Greece, Montenegro, Kosovo. These are called the Balkan areas. And a lot of the Sephardic Jews live in that region, including the remnants of the Ottoman Empire, the Ottoman Turkish Empire. And so you'll see E1B, North Africa, this is Greece, this is Italy, and then you see different percentages in different parts of Europe, in Spain and Portugal, and Turkey. All right, so it's important to know that this DNA type is seen in a lot of different places because Esau was busy getting around. Even when the second temple was destroyed, the Edomites stayed close to the Israelites. They had to go somewhere, so a lot of times they went to Europe, a lot of times they went to Arabia, which I'll talk about in the movie, and then a lot of times they went to North Africa. I'm not gonna go through all of this. So the Bible says that after leaving Egypt, the first people the Israelites fought against were the Amalekites. As Israel got close to the promised land of Canaan, the Edomites refused to let them pass through their land. The words generation to generation, because it talks about how Yah declared to have war with Amalek's children from generation to generation. So from the very beginning, the Edomites had harbored a brooding hatred for the children of Jacob. But Yah said that there will be an everlasting war, generation to generation, between the children of Israel and the half Horite, half Edomite children of Amalek. Does anybody know that Amalek was half Horite? Anybody know that? Okay, if you look at the lineage. So if King Saul and the Israelites fought the Amalekites back then, perhaps this war that involves the seed of Amalek and the seed of Israel is still going on to this day. All right, and this is just a video. audio running? Is it audio?
Very low.
Do we have audio?
I hear a little something low.
What I wanted to share before digging into this is that I have speculations that my ancestors are predominantly from Ghana. This is because I cannot tell you guys how many times people who are either from Ghana or their family is from Ghana and they're like first generation Americans have told me I look just like their sister, I look just like their cousin, I look just like their mom back home. And I'm like, for real, like, let me find out. So for a long time, like I can't tell you guys how many times I've been told this. And so I've kind of internalized that and decided, yes, my ancestors are from Ghana. I could be completely wrong, and this test obviously will tell me, but I also low-key think I'm right. And then I think that would be my highest percentage, but I also believe that I will have some ancestors from Nigeria. This is my personal speculation, and the only reason why I'm saying Nigeria is because historically, a lot of African Americans they know for a fact, their families were slaves, and obviously their ancestors were from West Africa. There's a high percentage of Nigerian and a lot of African Americans, and that's the only reason why I have that guess. But without further ado, I'm gonna dig into this. Oh my gosh, I'm not sure if I'm gonna cry, just be in shock. But oh my God, I'm just gonna open this up. I'm gonna try to do this smoothly. Is there anything else in here? I'm gonna drop these. Okay, so the envelope is empty. I have this and this. So what do I do first? Welcome to the African Ancestry family. Oh God, I'm literally shaking right now. Oh gosh. Okay, so what does it say? I can feel it coming because I feel like I'm shaking. It is with great pleasure. Oh my God. I can't believe this right now. I can't believe I'm about to find my results. It is with great pleasure that I report your magic plant analysis determined your oh my God, I literally cannot speak straight. Focus. I'm start over. It is with great pleasure that I report our magic plant analysis determined your maternal lineage to be of European ancestry.
Whoa.
The mitochondrial DNA sequence that we determined from your sample belongs to a non-African lineage in the haplogroup H. Our analysis encompasses hypervariable regions 1, 2, and 3. You have inherited these segments of DNA from your mother, and they have been passed on consistently from mother to daughter over the past 500 to 2,000 years. So they are unique to your maternal lineage. We analyze the variants within these regions to determine the parts of your DNA that you share with people within specific ethnic groups. Are you trying to tell me I'm white? The combinations of HBR variants determine your membership. The sequence score represents our 100% confidence level in your result. Haplogroup H. Sequence similarity score 1.
All right, so basically, I'm not gonna cut the whole thing. Her dad's black, but obviously somebody like her grandmother or great-grandmother was white. And even though she has dark skin complexion, the maternal DNA keeps going down. And that's why it showed her to be a European haplogroup. So, does anybody know is Bob Marley, is he an Israelite?
No.
Why is he not an Israelite? So a lot of people don't know that Bob Marley's dad is a white German man. So if we were living in biblical times, he wouldn't be an Israelite. Even though he looks black, he would be the son of a Japhetic person. But that's how, when you look at people across the world, you can't really tell who they are. But DNA to kind of prove who they are. And just to show you an analogy, your parents give off 50% of their DNA to you equally. So when you have somebody say that's white, you have a white great-great-grandparent. Their genetic contribution to what makes you you, your eye color, your skin complexion, your hair color, all that good stuff, is only 6.25%. So after each generation, it gets less and less and less and less. But the Y DNA and the maternal DNA is kind of like a tag or it. And this is the reason why the Bantu Negro people in West Africa were a patrilineal society. So even though the Igbos and the Mandingos and the Yorubas, they had kingdoms stretching centuries ago, they maintained a patrilineal society. So even through slavery up until now, we still carry the same Y DNA as they do. And for most black women, they carry the same maternal DNA as women seen in West Africa or East Africa, because it was within the tribe. Like the people in Africa, they marry within their tribe. To try to Igbo person to marry somebody from the Mandingo tribe wouldn't make sense, because they would have to travel all the way to Senegal and Gambia to find somebody that's Mandingo. And the same thing, if you're an Igbo, you want to find somebody that's Zulu, you had to travel all the way down to South Africa to find somebody Zulu. But for the most part, they stayed within their area, within their tribe. So that's important to know. So when you look at DNA, they look at different things called single nucleotide polymorphism, the SNPs. These are just markers. And the markers determine how many of those SNPs are African, how many are European, how many are Asian, and then how many are unknown. And they look at the nucleotides right here. It's like a scientific lesson. But in the Jewish community, the Jews claim there's a certain genetic markers that claim that they're Jewish. So such as this family right here, the Chassidic dynasty family, they're saying it's a great rabbinic family through Y DNA. But their Y DNA all shows EM35, E1B1B, which shows that from thousands of years ago, Esau's lineage has still maintained through these people's bloodlines. So if E1B1B or EL117 is a Jewish genetic marker, why does it associate with Esau? They don't think they're Esau, but a lot of their books say that they have Edomitish character, Edomitish blood. Esau is in modern Jewry. They might read that in the Jews. Okay, so here you see these people right here. They claim to be Jews and Israelites, but when you really test their DNA, it really goes back to the ancient Sumerians, Thrace is like Greece, the Scythians, Gog and Magog. Now remember the word Scythian in the Bible? Yes. In Colossians? Yes. Scythian, barbarian. Why would the Apostle Paul, out of all the different nationalities in the world, why would he choose neither Jew nor Greek, Scythian or barbarian? Why didn't he say Roman? Why didn't he say Elamite or anybody else? Arabian? He said Scythian and barbarian. And it was for a reason. Now when you look at Russia, Ukraine's right next door to Russia, you will see that Esau somehow made his way into Russia. As you see his DNA type, E1B1B. And this gives the subgroups, subcategories, haplogroups. Russian Jews, they have ancestry from Esau's seed and some Japhetic seed as well. Now, E1B1B is also a part of the Iraqi people's bloodline. Esau's seed traveled to Babylon. When the first temple was destroyed, the Edomites said, raise it down, raise it down. Raise it down means tear it down. So the Edomites were hanging along the side, like Obadiah, just hanging there watching when their brother's kingdom and people were being pillaged and besieged and the temple was being ravaged. They were hanging around. And this is what Obadiah is about. You stood around while your brothers were being destroyed and being persecuted and besieged, and the temple was destroyed. So are the people living in the land of Shem really Shemites, or are they Japhetites with some Edomite admixture? This is Saddam Hussein. So when you look at the Iraqi DNA project, you'll see in Iraq, you say, well, wait a minute, you see other DNA haplogroups, like such as Y DNA haplogroup C, and also D. Well, when you look at haplogroup C, the people that have the highest percentage of haplogroup C, meaning they're the basal, the forefathers of this haplogroup C, going way back, thousands of years, are the Australian Aborigines. So why is their DNA still hanging around in Iraq? Well, in 2 Kings 17:6, it says that In the year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria, took Samaria. He carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Halah and Habor by the river Gozan in the city of the Medes. So in order to get from Assyria to the Medes, you have to go through Babylon to get to Iran or Iraq, haplogroup C. And in the first movie, I talked a little bit about how the Australian Aborigines have Hebraic, Israelite oral histories and traditions and customs. So it's not just the Israelites in America that we look at. We look at the 12 tribes of Israel. We also got to look out at the Pacific Islands as well, and India, which we'll see later. So Iraq, here we see some more of Esau's genetic influence. These are all real people in Iraq that have the DNA of Esau's seed passed down from the father. Now you have Christian Iraqis. For those people living in Michigan, we know about the Chaldeans. Anybody know what a Chaldean is? Chaldeans, they own a lot of things in Michigan. So Chaldeans are Christian Iraqis. That's all they are. You have Muslim Iraqis and you have Christian Iraqis. They live in the same area, Iraq. But these people claim to be descendants of the Chaldees, or the Chaldees through Nahor, Abraham's brother, Shemitic people, seed of Shem, but they're not. Here you see Alexander the Great and the Diadochi generals. Well, when you look at Iraq, Christian Iraqis, Muslim Iraqis, wait a minute, you see G all the way down the list. All these Iraqi people have the Y DNA haplogroup G. Y DNA haplogroup G corresponds to Greece, Macedonia. What is the Y DNA of the Grecians and Macedonians doing in Iraq? Does anybody know? Did the Grecians conquer Egypt and Jerusalem? Did Alexander the Great, did he conquer North Africa and Egypt and Israel? And then he also conquered Iraq and Iran. And they had a big area where the Grecians had different generals. Seleucus, Nicator, all these different people that had different territories. They went all the way until the northern part of India or Afghanistan and Pakistan. And you'll see that DNA over there too. So here you see Greece, Cyprus, Greece. You see G. This column right here. But you see it in Greece, in Greek people, regular Greek people. You see the Y DNA G. You also see it in Iraqis. You see it also in Rome. See, Italy. Rome, Italy. G, all the way down the line. So when the Ottoman Turks came to conquer the Eastern Roman Empire, what did the people living in Greece do? Because remember before in Turkey, Constantinople, they were speaking Greek. In Corinth and Ephesians and Galatians, all these different Colossians, all these different cities in the book of Acts and the book of Paul, the epistles of Paul, are in Greek areas and in Turkey as well. So they spoke Greek, but when the Ottoman Turks came, the Greeks fled. They fled to Italy and to the west. So that's why you see it in Rome as well. So here's a map of how the Greeks conquered. In 336 BC, Alexander the Great of Macedonia led his army with successful campaigns against Macedonia, Greece, Egypt, Persia, Pakistan, Afghanistan, the old Western India border, which is the Mauryan Empire. Alexander's tutor was the Greek philosopher Aristotle, who impressed upon him the value of Greek culture and philosophy. Then you have inter-Hellenistic Judaism, and the Hasmoneans and the Maccabees and all that good stuff that's rooted in Greek. So you see Greek monuments in Iran, right here. You see Greek monuments in Jordan, Jerash, Jordan, or the area where Edom lived at for a long time. You see Greek monuments in Syria, or Aramean, or the son of Shem, Aram. Because in the Bible, in the Aramaic Bible, it says Aramean, or Aram. It doesn't say Syria. And so back in the ancient times, the Romans, they renamed everything. Arabia, Petra. This is basically parts of the Sinai Peninsula, Israel, and then parts of Jordan. And then they had Arabia Deserta. And they also had Arabia Felix, which was Yemen. So this is a map in Latin by the great French map maker, Guillaume de La Salle. This is the 1600s. It shows how the eastern parts of the Roman Empire in 400 AD. They had kingdoms. But the kingdoms that the Romans didn't have were the kingdoms such as the Sarmatians, the Scythians, the barbarians, the Goths, the Vandals, all these different people. Okay? But around the 7th century AD, 600 AD, during the rise of Islam, the Romans fell, the Arabs started taking over things. Greek philosopher Aristotle. Here we see Central Asia, Western Asia. Now we're seeing J2. What is J2? J2 is seen in a lot of people in Iraq as well. Well, J2 comes from Central Asia. Just like you see a lot of the Greek DNA seen in Central Asia as well. This is Central Asia, Kazakhstan. Now in Central Asia you have countries like Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, all these different stands. And nobody really pays attention to these countries, or who lives there, where they come from, what's their biblical identity. But these people in Central Asia eventually migrated to the West, and they started taking over, and they started changing their languages. They started getting rid of their Turkish language and adopting Arabic, or Hebrew, or Latin, or Greek. Here we see Khazaria. Khazaria is in the same place, Central Asia. See? Greece. This is the Black Sea, this is the Caspian Sea, or the Sea of the Khazars. This is the Black Sea, right here, the Sea of the Khazars. Crimea, Ukraine. Kiev, this is in Ukraine. Russia, northern Russia, southern Russia. All right, and so you see the Caucasus Mountains right here. So the Khazarian people lived in Central Asia, the Caucasus Mountains, these little areas right here, and they started moving over eventually. And so when you see the DNA of the Greeks, you'll see that its highest concentration outside of Asia Minor is in Iran. Then Kazakhstan, one of the areas of Khazaria, the Khazarian Empire. Anybody read the book, The Jews of Khazaria? Okay, so the Khazarian people, we talk about the Khazarian people and the Jews. So why is the Greek DNA seen in Iran? Why is it seen in Khazaria? Well, is this Persian nation today really the same these Persian people from Ezekiel 38:39? When we see them threaten to attack Israel, and America is going to back up Israel, is this by biblical prophecy? A lot of Israelites on YouTube, I watched some different YouTube channels, and they are always saying, Israel's about to go down with Iran, Iran's about to fight Israel, America's going to jump in and help Israel, this is in the Bible, this is Ezekiel 38, this is Daniel, and they always be saying this all the time. But if the people in Israel are not the real children of Israel, and the people in Iran are not the real persons, then it's just distractions, just smoke screens. There's something for you to look at and pay attention to and get all nervous and scared and start saying, oh, this is about to happen, this is the end of the world, we're looking at Iran, this is biblical prophecy. No, it's not biblical prophecy. So, who are the persons today? We gotta wake up and not be fooled, because really biblical prophecy revolves around us. It's all about us. You gotta look at us for biblical prophecy. So when you look at the real Persians, well, the real Persians stand up. So in the book of Ezekiel, it talks about God, prophesy against God, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. Prophesy against him. And it says, I am against thee, O God, the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal. And then you see listed here, you see Persia, or Paras in Hebrew, Ethiopia, or Cush, and Libya, put with them, all of them with shield and helmet. Gomer, and all his bands, the house of Torgamah of the north quarters, and all his bands. A lot of people don't pay attention to this right here. Why is Gomer ruled out? Why is the house of Torgamah? What about the house of Ashkenaz? Remember, this Ashkenaz and Torgamah from Rephaim were all brothers, right? So I can say Ashkenaz and all his bands. It says Gomer, the house of Torgamah and the north quarters, all his bands. Well, in Paleo-Hebrew, there's levels to Hebrew. You got the meaning, but then you have the Paleo-Ancient Hebrew meaning, how the Hebrews wrote it, and it has a different layer, like a code. So you look at Paras. Paras is the word for Persia. And what did the Persians do for the children of Israel? Under King Cyrus and King Darius, they sent them home, and they issued a decree. So when you look at the word Paras, it's Pei, Resh, and Shemek. This is the modern Hebrew. Then you see, this is the ancient Paleo-Hebrew. This represents a mouth. This represents a person, a head, or authority. Resh, this represents a thorn, protect, support. This is the word, this is how you say Persia in Hebrew. So in the book of Ezra, a verbal decree with the mouth of King Cyrus was spoken under the authority or person of Persian kings, Cyrus, Darius, and Xerxes, in support of the Israelites to come back to their land to rebuild the temple with protection. As we read the book of Ezra, it says that anybody that was against it, that wasn't rocking with the Persians' decree, that they were going to lose their house, their land, they was going to be persecuted. Does anybody remember that in the book of Ezra? So they gave a verbal decree under the authority of the Persian kings, and they supported the Israelites and protected the Israelites to rebuild the temple and come back to the land. Exactly what the Paleo-Hebrew means. The speak, verbal expression, mouth, the head person, first authority, form, protect, support. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. That's deep. It gets even deeper when you research a lot about Paleo-Hebrew. And here we see proof that in the time of the Israelites being in Egypt with Moses, they were writing ancient Hebrew, like the Hey and the Lamed, and you see the Aleph, and you see different things like the Mem, the water sign, and a lot of these are really, really ancient, archaic, but it was ancient Hebrew that they spoke. And so here we see different types of Hebrew. This is kind of like your modern Paleo-Hebrew right here. And then you see ancient Hebrew, they were just like scribbling stuff. But it still corresponds to these 22 Hebrew letters. This is the old Negev alphabet that was found in Colorado. It's found in Australia. It's found in Negev. It's found in South America, in different areas. It's crazy how Hebrew is found everywhere. It's even found in Puerto Rico, in the Guyana stones. And so this is just a breakdown. You have hieroglyphic pictograph Hebrew, you have Paleo-Hebrew, Aramaic Hebrew, like 400 BC, Aramaic Dead Sea Scrolls, and then you have Masoretic Hebrew, what the Jews write today, like this right here. All right, so the Wadi al-Hol right here is where I just showed you was right here, next to Thebes. These are ancient Hebrew Israelites. They were writing this language in Egypt near Thebes, and Thebes is in the Bible. Here we see right here, the Hebrew Israelites wrote in Paleo-Hebrew. They said, the Lord of peace, awesome God of all, the great united nations of Egypt. This is all Hebrew right here. Salam, peace. This is the Shemek, and here you see the L and then the M. And you see the Aleph right here, the ox head. And so, like I said before, when you look at different YouTube channels, they report signs at the end. When you see rumors of war and conflict between Israel, Iran, and America, people say, oh, Iran has many allies, like Russia, Magog, and so on. But are we really on point? We have to really look and see who's who. So, Madai. Now, does anybody know Madai took the portion of the land that wasn't really his? In the book of Jubilees? And so, and Jacob and his sons went towards the sea and dwelt the land of the portion. Madai saw the land of the sea and did not please him. He didn't want the land of Japhet. And he begged a portion from Ham and Ashur and Arphaxad, his wife's brother. So his wife was Shemitic. And he dwelt in the land of Media near to his wife's brother until this day. And he called his dwelling place and his dwelling place of his sons Media after the name of their father Madai. All right? This is the book of Jubilees. So what people today, now if you think about it, if Madai or Medes Persia was birthed off of a Japhetic man named Madai and a Shemitic woman that's, kin to Arphaxad and Ashur. So you have a black Shemitic woman and a Japhetic man. How would they look today or back then? Would they look Negro or would they look like something else? Anybody know? All right. So when you look at the Persian Elamite soldiers in the palace of Susa, which corresponds to King Darius and the Persian soldiers. You'll see the 10,000 immortals, they were troops. This is also in the Babylon Gate and Ishtar. And you'll see that the Persian Elamite warriors were brown-skinned people. Okay, so the Persians today, the Iranians, they don't look like this. They don't look like this. So what happened? Are they the real Persians? No, they're not the real Persians. When you look at the maternal DNA, remember that lady, she said it was maternal DNA H? It said H, European. Well, right here you see H. You see HV, you see U, R, you see J1, you see T, you see X, this is the Neanderthal gene. and then W, which is the pure European genes seen in Finland and Sweden and Norway. So Iran has a lot of maternal DNA that is straight up European. Straight up European. And that's why they're white. And then you see also some DNA of Negroes there too as well, because there's some black people in Iran, they just don't show you that. And so the Greco-Roman Japhetic empires, just going back to history, they dominate part of the Middle East until the Islamic expansion into the region around 600 AD. After that period of time, from 600 AD to 1300, 1400 AD, you had the Arabs, the Seljuks, and the Japhetic Turkish Mongol invasions. So we talk about Attila the Hun and Genghis Khan. Anybody know about those people? Now, the Iraqis in their school, they learn things that we don't learn. In our westernized history, we learn about, Abraham Lincoln and different things like that. But over there in Iraq and Iran, they learn about Central Asian history. So they go to school and they learn about Attila the Hun and Genghis Khan's sons and where they conquered and where they lived at. And the Iraqis and the Iranians know that part of their ancestry is Greek, it's Central Asian, Turkish, Genghis Khan, Attila the Hun. They know this. But they're not going to tell you this. They're going to tell you we're Semitic. We live in Babylon. Yeah, we're people of the book. We're people of the Semitic people. But when you really look at it, the Arabs that we see today, the white Arabs, they originate from Central Asia, from a people called the Oghuz tribes. They call it Uzes. The Romans call it Uzes, linked to the son of Togarmah. Togarmah was the son of Gomer. Gomer can be sometimes linked to God. So the expanding waves of these Altaic-speaking nomads from Central Asia involved regions to the west, such as Iran, Iraq, Anatolia, which is Turkey, and the Caucasus Mountains, where they imposed Central Asian Turkish language. Does anybody know that in Turkey, before Arabic was widespread, they were speaking a Turkic dialect? And the Turkic dialect is totally different than Arabic. And if you ask a lot of people from Turkey, you say, where does your people come from? Where does your grandparents come from? And they'll say, oh, they come from Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan. So their ancestors don't come from, they haven't been in the Bible, they haven't been in Babylon and Assyria. They weren't writing Wedge cuneiform script that the Assyrians and Babylonians wrote. They didn't do that. These are invaders. So here we see a Persian, a Mede, this Mede sometimes is seen as Eastern Iran, the Elamite. Elamite is right in the middle between Babylon and Iran. You see an Aryan, a Bactrian, which is also northeast Iran, and then a Scythian. Now this is a relief of a curly-headed, bearded Cyrus the Great, 500 BC, as an early version of Pharaoh Vihar. This is found in Persia. Now, this guy has kind of woolly, curly hair right here. Doesn't look like the Persians we see today. So did the ancient Persians look like this? Like the people in India? Look at his hair. It's kind of like, it's not completely straight because it's standing up, but nevertheless, it's not like a woolly hair. Or was it like this? These guys are in India too, and they have brown skin. Okay? According to Strabo, Greek philosopher, the first Elamite colony at Susa in Iran or Persia was founded by Thithnos, a king of Kush. Strabo in book 15, chapter 3728, wrote that in fact it is claimed that Susa was founded by Tithonus, Memnon father, and his citadel bore the name Ammonium. Now, does anybody know what Elam? Who's Elam?
East Indian?
Was Elam one of the sons of Shem?
Yes.
Okay, he's one of the sons of Shem. Here we see a Babylonian bust, or Babylonian Syrian, Sargon the Great, and we see an Elamite bust. We see Elamite Babylonian. Do these look like East Indians or white Arabs? Okay, now, the people today, in the first movie, I showed a little bit about this. The people today that have the closest language to the ancient Babylonian and Assyrian language and writing style are people in India, the Indus Valley languages. Like you have Harappan, you have Ascoan, Brahmi, Tamil, and you have Malayalam, you have all different types, Kannada, Telugu. So their language is the closest thing to linear Elamite in the Babylonian and Assyrian language. Now, this Elamite bust, would the guy look more like this or more like Scotty from The Whisper? You know, you don't know. I mean, right here it looks like it's kind of compact, like he has Negro type hair. But if you look at his nose, it's kind of thin. He has thin lips. So it kind of looks like, well, he can't be really Negro. He doesn't really have Negro type features. So it could have been this guy. Because obviously they can't make stone look just like this. You gotta have different things flowing around in here. So when we talk about Ashur and Aram and Elam, you gotta look at other people. Like, who are the people in India? Who are these people? They dress kind of like they've been in the land. They got the thing over one shoulder, just like the Nigerians do. They have one thing over the shoulder. They walk around with sandals or sometimes bare feet. You know, so we gotta think about them. They're Shemitic people. We just don't see it. So Israel has teamed up with India, and everything that Israel says do, India, they fall right in line. And if you remember, well, there are any Bantu slaves, Negroes that were sold to India. Any Israelites went to India? Through the Arab slave trade? Yeah, they're called cities. All right? Prove it. Watch how the Indians suppress the Israelites in India. So I can play the whole thing. In India, there's a lot of people that's just as dark as him, but they see his skin as black and ugly. And does anybody know, in the first movie I talked about a genetic marker called the 9pp deletion. And that's a certain marker that all of the pygmy races in the world have. No matter if you're in Malaysia, if you're in Africa, if you're in the Philippines, in the Negritos, Papua New Guinea, they all have the same BP deletion marker. But interesting enough, the other people that have this marker are the Lemba Jews, the Bantus Negro people, the people in Polynesia, like Samoa and Fiji, Papua New Guinea, select groups of people in India that are not black, but then also the Native American Indians, and also the city people. So there is a connection between the city people and the Lemba Jews and the Bantus Negroes and the Polynesians, Papua New Guinea, different people to Israel. And in the first movie, I'll talk about the Canaanites, and that's a whole other topic. But when you look here, you'll see two guys. You see a guy that's a Hamite, and he's from the lineage of Cush. Cush, this is the Dinka tribe. The Dinka tribe, they mark their foreheads and their bodies over time because of westernized culture. A lot of them are not doing that no more, but that's what their tradition is. And sometimes they'll take showers from the urine of a cow so that their hair will turn red. Anybody might seen that? They stand behind the cow when the cow's urinating and they'll shower and then their hair will turn red. And they jump up in the air and stand in one place and jump in the air. And they also often eat milk and blood together. So they don't really have a Mosaic law. They're Cushites. They live in Sudan and Nubia. And they know that they're not Israelites. And then you see the Dravidian, dark-skinned Indian in the south. But you got Indians that look light-skinned, like Gandhi, and you have Indians in South India, the Dravidian Indian, in Sri Lanka, they look dark. Their DNA is different than the northern Indians. So you have 3 or 4 different types of DNA types in India. A lot of them are Semitic. The majority of them are Semitic. There's a little bit of mixture of Greek DNA in there as well. So this is a Cushite, this is a Dravidian. But the Dravidians, the ones that I speak to, they say that they come from Babylon in Assyria. I've actually talked to guys that look just like him and say that our ancient homeland was Babylon in Assyria. And we migrated to the east, to India. So here you see Nimrod. Nimrod's kingdom was where? Babylon. He was the son of Cush, and he ruled a mighty region. He ruled the Cush region in Africa. He also ruled in Assyria, and also Babel, Nineveh was the places of his kingdom. So we had black Hamitic Cushite people living in Mesopotamia. There is an Elamite goddess, one of the sons of Shem, Elam, Elamite goddess. Now, does it look like a white person, or does it look like somebody that could be right here? Okay? This is a Persian. This is an Elamite. Persia, Elamite, Elamite's right next to a Persia. These people are Europeans, Central Asians, Japhetic people. Here we see Turkey. Turkeys, they say they're Turkish. Iranians say they're Persians. Now, there's nothing in the Bible that says Turkey. There's nowhere in the Bible that says Turkey. We know that Iran is Medes Persia. They both look the same. That's because they came from a central ancestor forefather from Central Asia. So do we follow the CNN lies, or do we follow truth to interpret biblical prophecy? These are people in India and Sri Lanka as well. Notice their hair. The grain of hair is a little bit different. Some of them can look like black people if they put on a hat. Okay? Now we know about Naaman the Aramean. Aramean basically means Syria. Now Naaman was the captain of the host of the king of Syria. He was a great man with his master and honorable because by him Yahuwah had given deliverance to Syria. And he was also a mighty man in valor, but he was a leper. Now what does that mean? He was a leper. Did he have oils on his skin? He had white skin. And if he was a complete leper, it means he was all white, right? Kind of like albinos. And black people have albinism too. So the Syrians gone out. Basically, there's somebody in Israel that he wanted to see if they could find a cure for his leprosy. And what's common, what you'll see, because anybody know the story of Gehazi and Naaman? Yeah. And how many he had to dip in the river 7 times to clear the leprosy from the skin. So here we see an Aramean that was a descendant of Shem. Wasn't an Israelite descendant of Shem, but he had albinism. And he dipped into the river 7 times, he came out, and his flesh was like brown again. Albinism is common in sub-Saharan Africa. It's common in Native American Indians. It's also common sometimes in Europe. But it's also common, which they don't show you, in India. That's a lot of information. See Japan, China, India, Sindhi, Balochi, Brahmo, Punjabi, all these different people, albinism. Different alleles that cause albinism. Here we see an albinism woman, albino woman, India. All right? Here we see a whole family, generations. There's actually a family that they always keep having albino children in India. Like every generation, they're all albinos. And people can't explain it. Here we see an albino Indian. Does that look like a Caucasian? Yeah. So, the drama, the saga continues. I'm gonna show you why. Now is this an albino Indian? No. You sure? No. All right, let's look at this. All right. Could it be or could it not be? What you guess?
Got the same eyes.
It'd be hard to tell. If you shaved his hair, would it be hard to tell? Yeah. If you shaved his hair now? All right, so now you look at Madai, you see somebody that's half Japhetic and half Shemitic. Now, meaning they look kind of white, but they also kind of look Shemitic. But in his term, he has no skin complexion. But here we see normal Shemitic Indians, and they have brown skin tones. Brown skin tones. The real Indians. Yep. So today, the Iranians right here, North Iran, South Iran, they still have, if you look here, you see G, J2, R1A. They don't have the DNA that they claim that they really are from. So Iranians today, the genetic bloodline of Iranians are the Greeks, the Romans, Gog and Magog, or Central Asians, Eastern Europeans, and other nations of Japhet, not the genetic bloodline of the authentic Persians. So how can we as Israelites look at world news and associate them with Persia and Ezekiel 38:39? We can't. That's like associating the European Jews with the children of Israel in Ezekiel 38:39. We're picking and choosing now. So when we look at the Iranian DNA project, you'll see in the maternal DNA, you'll see there's a whopping number of all types of DNA haplogroups. You see that? You see that? For most black women, when you get your DNA tested, it's going to be L, L2, L3. Has anybody got their DNA tested? And usually it's L2, L3. For men, it's E1B1A. Not 15 to 20 different DNA haplogroup types that you can choose from. And that shows the people that are the product of invasions, multiple men, multiple wives, people that didn't really follow a patrilineal society. This is the haplogroup of Greek people. Greek people have the same thing. They have J2, they have R1B, R1A, I, G, G2. And here we see the Iranian Azeri people, J2, R1A, G, J1. They're all Central Europeans. Now the highest concentration of G1 also is seen in Kazakhstan, like I said. It's also a certain marker, the Ashkenazi G1A1 marker, which is shows the Jewish cluster that represents their closest relatives to Kazakhstan. So a lot of Jews come from Kazakhstan by way of the Greek invasions into Central Asia. These are the people living in Kazakhstan, right here. Haplogroup G, see right here. So the Greco-Roman bloodline over centuries of conquest, defeat, and retreat from the barbarians, the Scythians, the Germans, the Arabs, the Ottoman Turks has spread a lot of places. The Romans feared the Scythians and the barbarians. They feared them, and eventually they did conquer the Western and Eastern Roman Empire. If anybody knows history about the Roman Empire. And here you see, in the beginning, when Jacob had his children, they all were standing around this area right here. And then they started spreading to the north and to the east. And you'll see that evidence in DNA. When you look at the Bosnian people, nobody talks about who they are. But a lot of Bosnian people actually know somebody that's Bosnian, and he said that their ancestry says they come from the lineage of Tyrus. Tyrus is one of the sons of who? Japheth. So Bosnia, Kosovo, Croatia, they admit that they are descendants of Tyrus, sons of Japheth. They have a lot of DNA from the Ottoman Church, from the invasion, but they have the white DNA I2, which is seen in these areas, the Balkan areas. You see Bosnia, Croatia, Serbia, Montenegro, Romania, Macedonia, Slovenia, Bulgaria, Belarus, Hungary, Slovakia, Ukraine, Albania. These are also places where the Jews were at. And they mix with them. So when we start connecting the dots, Tyrus, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Shavan, Greece, Tubal, Turkey, Gomer, Ashkenaz, Ryford, Torgamon, then you start to understand Ezekiel 38. This is I1 out here, and you have I2 is down here, Greece, Macedonia. Kind of hard to see. So here we see people over in Scandinavia. Anybody know what Scandinavia is? You have a group of regions up in the north. They call them the Aryans. Hitler said they're the Aryan people because they were what? What kind of hair color did they have? Blonde hair. So you have Sweden, Norway, Finland. All right, so here we see Norway, Sweden, Finland, Scandinavians. They eventually came over to Russia, the Rus, Vikings, King of the North, bend the knee, all that stuff. When they film these movies, they film them out these areas. You know, because it looks like they're out in the kingdom, you know, the white people fighting white people. And so the Norway women have the white DNA haplogroup I1, which is seen in the Jews, it's seen in people in the Balkans, over this area. You see Norway, they're white like they should be, like Japhetic people. And you see some people that also look sort of Mongoloid. What are they doing in Norway? Finland, all right? The Sami people, they live in Finland as well. People don't know it, but the different languages, the Uralic languages that are spoken by these Mongoloid people living in Siberia and the northern parts of Russia, it's also seen in Hungary, until the Hungary, people, if they know the history, and Finland. So you have a mixture of Japhetic people, Asians and non-Asian looking people. Here we see how you see the mixture of European and Asian Japhetic admixture, what it looks like. Blonde hair. Some of them had that facial phenotype. It kind of looks like there's some Mongoloid in there too. All right, so long before Norway, Sweden, and Finland inscribed the names of their countries on the map of Northern Europe, the Sami, Mongoloid-looking Asian people, they roamed this area. They were traditionally known as the Lapps or the Laplanders, and the earliest mention in history was 98 AD by the famed Roman historian Tacitus. Anybody know Tacitus, Cornelius Tacitus? Yes. Okay. Today, this indigenous group of people count a population of about 100,000 live in the territories of these 3 Scandinavian territories, mentioned above, plus Russia. They are old people who are likely the first culture on whom the Vikings traded with and lived amongst. And here you see right here, Scandinavians usually have big round eyes, except possibly for in North Sweden where they have Finnish and Sami ancestry. Okay, they have the white DNA N, which is seen all in North Europe. All of this area too as well. The Udmurts also have white DNA and they speak the Udmurt language. All of them have pretty much red hair. Like Rosenberg and a lot of Jews, they have red hair. Some Arabs have red hair as well. If you're in the military, you go over to Afghanistan, Pakistan, in the Middle East, you might see some people with red hair. In Ireland, Scotland, different areas, Celtic areas, they got red hair. Now you see the Nets, they also have white DNA N1C. They have Mongoloid features. They have teepees. The Yakuts, they also do too. Now look at the dress, look at the style of dress. Look at the kind of garments they have on, kind of royalish like, and the little things around their head, and how they have the things on the side of their head, the little braids. Now here we see the genetic distance of all these people, the Mongols, the Uyghurs, the Arabs. You see the Yakuts, these people, they're all in the same genetic cluster. Turkish domain, Uyghur man. This man looks kind of Asian, but he also looks like he could be an Arab. They are Muslim over in that area. This is Turkmenistan. Now, if they were walking around today, you probably would say, if they said they were Arab, you probably believe them. Like, yeah, okay. Yeah, they're Arab. But they come from Turkmenistan, and Turkmenistan people are predominantly Muslim. And they eventually convert to Islam, learn the Arabic language, or the Turkish language, that was their old language, and they came over to the West. Okay, now you see the mixture of the Asiatic, Mongoloid, and Japhetic mixture. They're Muslim. Now this is a half European girl from Northern Europe, Finland, and also half Central Asian. The original Turks look like this, except for they have black hair from their territory between Eastern Europe and China. Now, a lot of the Chinese people, they know that the Turks, they know who the Turks are, and Attila the Hun and Genghis Khan, and they know that the Arabs today are the ancestors of the Turks that live in Central Asia. They constantly were riding around on horses, shooting arrows, and they were Mongols, like Attila the Hun, Genghis Khan. They have black hair, and they kept invading China. And so China had to build the Great Wall to stop different invaders and people coming back and forth. If you really do research on the Great Wall of China. And so all of these nations, Kazakhstan, the River Volga, Russia, Moscow, they're all related to each other. And a lot of times back in history, they would group everybody under certain things, like Sarmatians, Scythians, Turkish tribes. They speak the Uralic tribes up here, like the people we just saw, the Sama and the Yaka people, and then Finland, Sweden, Belarus, Germania, the Goths, Bactria, all right? So here we see pictures of them. And really, if you look at the old pictures of Russia and Siberia, you see that they look more Mongoloid. They look more Mongoloid, if you really look at it. Even in the Ukraine. And here you see in Finland, and this person wrote here, I have often heard of the kingdom of Finland, which was broken in half and absorbed by the Russia and Sweden years ago. And they said that they were undersized, squat, broad, with high cheekbones, light yellow hair, and beard. They are the blondest blondes I've ever seen, approaching almost that popular to people that have albinism. So they knew that these people have blonde hair, they have really, really white skin. They are basically your pure Japhetic people. They really didn't do a lot of mixing. They are pure Japhetic people. And these are also areas where the Neanderthal roamed as well. All right? And here you see different variations of Finnish people. Central Asian admixture, European admixture, Central Asian. Central Asians have more rounded faces. And you'll see their DNA, Eastern admixture right here. Okay? And so genetics shows the ancestry of a lot of people in Europe, such as the Finns, Europeans, Asians today. And here we go back to Turkmenistan. They are the Oghuz people. They are Turkish people. They, according to Khazar sources, they are the Oghuz, or the seventh son of Togarmah, the son of Gomer. Okay? So the Arabs today are descendants of Togarmah. Didn't the Bible say in Ezekiel, the bands of Togarmah? Yeah. All right? So you see in Iraq, you see the YDNL. Where did that come from? These guys right here, the Balochi people, the Baluchi people, people in India, in Pakistan. Notice they have brown skin. They were pushed away to India and parts of Pakistan, Afghanistan, but they really lived in Mesopotamia. Here they see the Balochi people right here. Now the Balochi people were also known as the Ma-Baluchi, and almost all of them spoke Swahili as their native language. Today, some of them speak a mixture of Baluchi and Swahili because of the influx of new Baluchi immigrants. Now, these people had the DNA of, say, Ashur and Madai and different nations, Semitic nations. Now, does anybody know that the Swahili people were Arabic people? And they went over to East Africa and they did slave trading? The Omanis, the Balochis, they took slaves from Tanzania, from Kenya, from Ethiopia, Mozambique. Anybody familiar with that? These were Israelites as well on the East Africa. At the same time transatlantic slave trade was going on, the East Arabic or Arab slave trade was also going on. Taking people to India and different places like China and the Philippines. And here you see their DNA is a little bit different than people that they call themselves Arabs. And these people live in like southeastern Iran, Pakistan, Oman, and as you can see, they are darker brown-skinned people. They don't look like Iranians. So the YDNL, YDNA, R1A, North Indians, who are they? It's trying hard to decipher that. We see H as well in their DNA, and Q and C. South Indians have a lot of H, they have a lot of Q, and sometimes C. Well, who are they? Well, the YDNA Q is seen in a lot of Native American Indians. But their DNA Q is also found in Israel as well. If you look at the first movie. It's also found in Iraq, it's also found in Persia. If you look at Iraq, now just to give you a quick update. the Blackfoot, the Cherokee, Chippewa, Choctaw, Seminole, all these different Indian tribes. Their Y DNA from the father is Q. It's Q. But what is their DNA doing in Iraq? What are Native Americans' DNA doing in Iraq? How did they get there? A lot of Native American Indians like the Shawnee and the Pawnee, if you talk to them, you say, well, hey, where do you guys come from? And they say, well, you know, we came from the Bering Strait into the Americas. You say, no, where you came from before then? And from sources that I know, that I talk to on a daily basis from California, different areas in the West, they'll say, well, we don't usually tell people this, but our ancestors say that we came from Israel. That's what they say. These are Native American Indians, and a lot of them live on the reservations, and some of them actually understand ancient Paleo-Hebrew. There was a guy that wrote a book about Paleo-Hebrew that was on the Watchmen's channel. Anybody know who the Watchman is? Yeah. Okay, and so the guy was talking about the book, and he said, oh, I was on the reservation with Native American Indians, and they had knowledge of Paleo-Hebrew. And the Boreal and the Watchman said, oh, okay, that's nice. Because the guy kind of blew their head when he said that. They weren't expecting him to say that. But the Native American Indians, their DNA tracks back to where they said they came from. Not the $5 Indians, the white Indians, not the $5, there's the other ones. So here you see, today, the DNA of the Native American Indians are all seen over here. But you also can be seen over here, and over here in Israel, they're just not showing it to you. So it shows the migration, how they went this way, this way. Just like the Bible says, Israelite cities, they just kept going east. They didn't go backwards, they went eastward. And if you look here in Iran, you'll see this blue color, you'll see that right here, and 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 right here. What is the DNA of the Native American Indians doing in Iran? You don't see the Native American Indians tribes in Iran or Iraq, because at one point in time, they crossed through there and left some children or some kind of marker there, like a tag or it. Just like the black lady that had her DNA tested, and it showed the European DNA type, even though she's black. That's how the DNA can show where you came from. So both parties, like these guys right here, Yasser Arafat, Palestinian, is Jew, they both have the same DNA. E1B1B, J2 from Central Asia, R1AG, come from many fathers, not one pure bloodline. All the Native American Indians have Q. All the Australian Aborigines have C. All the Negroes have E1B1A. When you go to the Jews and the Arabs, it's all over the place. Because they don't have a true paternal lineage, like Abraham and the Israelites. This is basically all conversion, religious conversion. So you see, we went over I is in Russia. I is also in Norway, Sweden, Finland. We see G, the Greeks, is also in Russia. This is a haplogroup right here. These are different haplogroups all over the world. I2, N, R1A, J2, R1B. This is, I think it's I or N. And so you see throughout it, you see different things such as the N. We talked about that with the people that look Mongoloid. And you see Central Asians, J2, Russia. I know this is a lot of really deep information, but across the board, the Arabs, whether you were in Tunisia, Jordan, Yemen, Oman, Libya, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Lebanon, they have a lot of Edomite admixture, and they have a lot of Central Asian admixture. Ottoman Turks. Ottoman Turks. Here we see Saudi Arabia across the globe. You'll see our DNA in Saudi Arabia. You see EM2, you'll see the Greeks, you'll see some of the Somalians' DNA, you'll see a lot of things. So Saudi Arabia has a mixture of a lot of different people. Ham, Shem, and Shaphat. So this is very interesting when you look at biblical history. When you see R1A, you see R1A over here. A lot of the Jews have R1A, but R1A has a lot of people living in India, in the Hindu Kush Dali region. This is important too because it'll tell you how people from over here came this way. They came into Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iran, northern India, lighten things up a little bit. Also Uzbekistan. So when you look at the Afghanistan people and Pakistani people, like Osama bin Laden and all these different people, by the 1500s, the Aryans, the people called the Aryans, they migrated from Central Asia into the northern Indian subcontinent. They came from, they crossed over the Hindu Kush Mountains. It's right here, Hindu Kush. Here you see China, you see Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan. They crossed over, boom, went this way. And they came into the Indus Valley civilization and later Iran. What did they bring with them? They brought their DNA with them as well. And it began the collapse of the Indus Valley civilization. The hypothesis that a lot of people don't accept. But like the Jews today, now you have the Pashtun Jews. Anybody heard about the Pashtun Jews? Pashtun Jews of Afghanistan?
Yeah, Harry Rosenberg, that's all he talks about.
That's all he talks about, the Pashtun Jews. He always goes to the Pashtun Jews all the time. And they have the same DNA as him. They have R1A. The Jews say it's a Levitical marker, lineage. Where does it really come from? It comes from Central Asia. But not all Europeans and Central Asians have R1A. Just like you see right here, not all Dravidian albino people left Asia. Okay. How many people want a little bit more? How many people want to end? We're basically getting close to wrapping it up. Y'all want more or y'all want to end? More. Y'all want more? The people want more. Let's get more. All right, so we'll see. We'll see here in the Hindu Kush Mountains, you'll see people like the Kalash people and the Boluki people. A lot of them look white and they have red hair. This is in my books too. They claim that they are the left behind deposits of the Greek invasion. Alexander the Great came and he went all the way to India and parts to Central Asia, and then he couldn't get past the Scythians, the barbarians, these nomadic tribes, so he just stopped saying, I had enough. And these guys are the left behind deposits. These guys have the Y DNA G. It goes to Italy, Rome, Greece, Macedonia. All right? They're not albino people. This is what they look like. Here we see the Pashtun people. Pashtun Jewish man, Pashtun man. This guy, he doesn't say he's Jewish. This guy says, I'm Jewish. This guy says, I'm not Jewish. They have the same DNA. It's confusion. It's confusion. You know? The Arabs have J1C. I mean, at least the black Bedouins have J1C. The Lemon Jews have it too. The Jews have a little bit of it. They all say, oh, we all Jews. This is the reason why they say the Lemon Jews are authentic, because they have this J1 haplogroup, Cohenite, the Buba clan, or priest. Just like us, we have it too. But they don't really understand that the majority of the black Arab races in Khartoum, Sudan, Northern Sudan, anybody know what Northern Sudan is? It's all black Arabs. All black. You go over to North Sudan, you're not going to see the white Arabs, you're going to see black Arabs. You go to Yemen and Oman, you're going to see black Arabs. They have the highest frequencies of J1, which the Jews say is a Cohenite high priest marker. So the R1A haplogroup, this guy has right here, this guy has right here. They also found it in Central Asia in what they call the Tarim Basin red-haired mummies. These mummies were a Celtic Scythian people. They had tattoos on their hand, on their face, as you can see right here. One of the tattoos on their hand was the swastika. And they had red hair, they had European features, white skin, because when black people die in the funeral, we often appear what? Lighter or darker? Darker. When white people die, they don't get darker, they stay white. When the Egyptian mummies are, when you dug them up, after 1,000 years, the Egyptian mummies are still black, because they are black. And so they tested the Y-DNA, the maternal DNA of these people, and the maternal DNA of these people with the Y-DNA R1A, like these people right here, came back all European. All European. So these are Europeans that ventured and lived in Central Asia, near the border of Western China. Right here. The Tarim Basin, right here. You can see China, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan is over here, Tibet. All right, so in India, you see, like I said, R1A is a migration to right area, right here. Then you see the Dravidian, the true Indian, Shemitic Indian, H, the dark-skinned Indian, and the Sri Lankans down here. And to no surprise, the people in Native American Indians also have it too. But they have an R1 type of DNA haplogroup that's not shared with Europeans, that's also seen in the Taino Indians. Taino Indians, you're gonna see some real crazy and mind-blowing when you see the second movie about the Taino Indians as well. I'll put that in there. So you see the Chippewa, the Seminole, the Cherokee, and these different tribes. Some people may say the 5 civilized tribes. I don't know why they say that. And so when you look at, today we look at lineages of people, we have to look at their DNA type. And I'm going to show you a little bit more. And so China, they said they left after the Tower of Babel. They said there was a great division and a confusion of languages into 5 or 6 language families. And they went to this area right here. Great division of languages, west, walk, migrate. This is what the Chinese people said. And a group of Chinese people, the smaller group of the Chinese people are the Miao people. The largest group is the Han people, H-A-N. So the Miao people, they say that there was a man named Noah who escaped a great flood in a ship with his wife, Kabulin. And they had 3 sons, Lo Han, Lo Shen, and Yafu. Corresponds to who? Ham, Shem, and Japheth. This is similar to the Bible. According to them, after the flood, according to Miao history, the speech of all mankind was broken up into 6 parent language families, like the Tower of Babel. The Miao people said that they are not Chinese, but were driven to South China by the Han people. They mixed with them, with the Han people. They said that the patriarch Noah was righteous, his wife was upright, they built a boat wide, the ship was fast, their entire household got on the boat, they floated, they were safe, the animals were with them, male and female, birds were along in pairs, the time was fulfilled that God commanded the waters to recede, the day arrived that the waters did recede. Noah liberated a dove from their refuge, and then Lohan begot Cusha and Meshach. What are they talking about right here? Cush. And who else? Mizraim, Egypt. Loshan or Shen begot Elon and Negusher. Who are they talking about? Elam. And who? Ashur. Their offspring became tribes of peoples and descendants that was became cities. Now they said that in terms of the genealogy, the patriarch Japheth got the son of nations. The son he begot was the patriarch Gomer. You go on the list, they say that from Gomer, their children, 11 in number, was each the head of the family. 5 branches became a Miao nation. 6 families joined with the Chinese. So these people admit they are the descendants of Gomer, the Miao people, and they joined 6 families with the Chinese. And they started mixing. Right there. The Herodotus, father of history, says that the Magogs are related to the Scythians. Philo, Josephus say the Great Wall of China is the ramparts of Gog and Magog. This is crazy. So we see Gog, Magog, Rosh, Tubal, Meshach. So Meshach and Tubal in our English Bible, that's what it says. But in the Assyrian inscriptions, it says Mushu and Tabal. Names have changed and place names changed over time as different Japhetic nations conquered new territories. When the Scythians threatened, it was the Scythians. When the Huns threatened, it was the Huns. When the Alans threatened, someone would call the Alans Gog and Magog. So too with the Khazars. They called the Khazars Gog and Magog. The Turks, the Magyars, the Parthians, the Mongols, Marco Polo in the 13th century thought that Gog and Magog were in Asia, Central Asia for sure. All right? So we see there's a place called the Gate of Gates. And through the area between the Black and the Caspian Sea, there was a strait that led the entryway into Asia Minor and into Europe and the Middle East. This was the Caucasus Mountains, the lesser and the greater. Here at the Caucasus Mountains, the Muslims could not influence Central Asia when they wanted to, so they ran into the Khazars. So anybody can look up the Arab-Khazar Wars, 1 and 2. The Arabs fought the Khazars twice, and they just said, we can't, none of us can win, so we're just gonna settle all the troops. And so this is where you introduce the Y-DNA J1 to the European nations that call themselves Jews. All right, so when you look at, I'm gonna skip over Tabal, this is right here, Tabal, or Tubal, right here, Tabal, and this corresponds to one of the sons of Japheth. But in ancient times, the Assyrian kings also went to this region between the Caucasus Mountains and the Central Asia. And I'm not gonna go through this because this is a lot of different information, but when you look at languages, I'm gonna show you why. This is the RNA of the Afghan man, RNA of the Hindu man. Now we know about Nimrod and the Black and Cush, son of Cush. And the interesting thing, I want to show you, here is Psalms 83:4. And it talks about Esau, Ishmael, Moab, the Hagarites, Amalek, Philistine, Assyria is also joined with them. So somebody from the Indian region is also a confederate to the Israelites. They accepted a lot of slaves from the Indian Ocean slave trade or Arab slave trade. And so all these things can be proven in terms of DNA, oral histories, traditions and customs, and ancient manuscripts. And so when you look at the DNA, and there's a lot of different DNA types of the Jews. The Khazars, one of them you'll see is R1A. And we kind of went through RNA with Afghanistan, the Pashtun Jews, Central Asia, and non-Jewish Germans had the Y DNA R1A. Adolf Hitler had that DNA, and they also say he had the Edomite DNA as well. Is this the same Y DNA as Jew? Yes, it is. Well, the Russian Y DNA also is a mix. Russians have a mixture of R1A and Scandinavia, Finland, Central Asia, also Edom, also Greek, also Siberian, Mongoloid. This is because there was all types of Japhetic people living in Russia. Invasions happening. The Greeks and Romans tried to get as far as they could into Central Asia, and they stopped when they couldn't beat the barbarians and the Scythians. This is why the Apostle Paul regarded them as they could be saved. Even the Scythians can be saved. Even the barbarians can be saved. Neither Jew nor Greek. We're all one in Christ. So he basically saying, like, it doesn't matter if you're a pagan Greek, or you're a convert Jew, or you were a Scythian or warring barbarian. This is all in Colossians. And a lot of Christians use that all the time. Colossians and Galatians to combat you. So here we see the DNA types, just going backtracking. Y DNA haplogroups. J2, you'll see G, and you'll see also in non-Jewish Russian haplogroups as well. In the old Russians, Grigory Rasputin. Did anyone remember that name, Rasputin? Yeah. Okay, so Rasputin looks kind of Mongoloid right here. Russia, this is Russia, Siberia. Mongoloids, Mongolians, the sons of Japhet. Indigenous Siberians. See what they look like? Russians, sons of Japhet, exiled to Siberia by the Russian Tsars. A lot of them, if you really pay attention and close up, they look Mongoloid. Here's a closer picture. Mongoloid, Mongoloid, Mongoloid. These are people living in Russia. Before the Scandinavians, the Japhetic sons over in that region, Norway, Sweden, Finland, they came down. And here you see the Vikings landed on Russian territory, the Rus people, that's why they call it Russia, and they came in contact with the Khazars. The Khazars said, hold up, what are y'all doing here? And they said, we're about to take over. And eventually they did take over the Khazars, and they pushed the Khazars down to the Palo settlements. Where's the Palo settlements at? Does anybody know where the Palo settlements? The Palo settlements is in Ukraine. In Ukraine. A lot of Jews are in Ukraine. That's really one of their homelands, is Ukraine. They also had the Palo settlements near Siberia. They don't talk about that. And so there's a lot of stuff you can find out, and I'm not going to go too long, but as you can see, the ancient Egyptians still have people that are Egyptian Cushite practicing the same tradition, same hairstyles in Northeast Africa or Egypt and Sudan, such as the Beja people. And when you look in India, you'll see all these DNA types with R1A, but this is all from the Aryan invasion of northern India, because you don't see it in South India. So you see lighter-skinned Indians in the north, darker-skinned Shemitic Indians in the south that have a language that goes back to ancient Babylon and Assyria, Mesopotamia. Okay? And you see Lud. You really got to break down the English name to the Assyrian name, to the Babylonian name, to the ancient Hebrew name to start tracking who's who. And that's usually what I do in the books and the movies, and comparing and contrasting ancient languages such as Sanskrit, which is the Indian parent language, and then also cuneiform Assyrian Babylonian script, the Egyptian hieroglyphic script. This is the Indian script right here that a lot of Indians write like that. And if you trace it back, it goes back to the ancient Semitic peoples, the Sumerians, the Assyrians, the Babylonians. These are your people living in India. So the key to understanding biblical prophecy, I'm gonna end it with here, is to know the prophetic identity of the world's great powers and the enemies of the real Israelites. And I can go on and on, there's so much more. Like I'm just scan through here. The Scythians, the Sarmatians. Here you see Colossians 3:11, whether there is neither Jew, Greek, nor Jew. A lot of times in the Aramaic Bible, it doesn't say Jew, it says Judean. Does anybody know that? In the Aramaic, Peshitta and the Targum, it doesn't say Jew, it says Judean. So it says, so really, it says whether there is neither Greek nor Judean, anybody can live in Judea, convert or not, circumcised or uncircumcised, barbarian, Scythian / Sarmatian, slave free, but Christ is, even if you were Christ, Christ takes care of it all. If you're in Christ, then you can be any of these people. As long as you accept Christ, then you can be heirs to the kingdom. And that's because these guys were ruthless. These guys were scalping people, beheading people, shooting arrows, putting it right through their neck. The Sarmatians, the Ukraine, the Scythians, these are the descendants of the Jews today. Conan the Cimmerian. Anybody know that Conan was a Cimmerian?
Oh, he was a barbarian.
He's a barbarian too. They're all grouped in the same category. This whole group of people, barbarians. And the barbarians were ruthless warriors. And the Romans feared their defeat, which eventually happened when they came down and defeated the Romans around 400 BC. The barbarians, the Goths, the Germans, the Germanic people, and it changed the game of the Roman Empire. And that all ties into the fourth beast that comes out of the sea. Anybody know about Daniel and the four beasts? In the Roman, in the 10 horns, 3 horns were plucked away, 1 little horn arise. That all ties into today. And I don't have no time to go through all of it. I wish I could, because it'll blow your head off. It'll really blow your head off. And a lot of and it really ties it into the people in the end that keep the commandments and bear the testimony of Christ. The dragon, meaning Satan, is going to be angry or wroth, exceedingly angry with the woman. The woman represents who? Israel. And the remnant of her seed. Who are the seed? The Israelites, who keep the what? Commandments and bear the testimony of Christ. So in the last days, people like us are going to be hunted down. And Satan is going to use all his powers to destroy us. Because you look around, nobody's really keeping the commandments. A lot of people nowadays are really doing away with the New Testament. There's so many black people and friends of mine that are sending me texts saying, have you seen about the Flavian dynasty and the invention of the New Testament and Christ? You know, why are you believing in the New Testament and all this other stuff? But see, they don't understand this, and the Bible says there's going to be a great falling away. Yes. The Bible says that. You got so much information on TV, on YouTube. You got the Kemetic community, you got the Nuwabians, you got the Nation of Islam, you got so many people. You got people converted to full-blown Judaism, like the Jews. And so it's easy for these people to ditch the New Testament in Christ. And then, of course, these people don't really keep the commandments, like we're doing. This is all happening around the time where we're seeing end-time stuff happening in the world today. And that's how you know that this is all a part of the prophecy. So you look at us, you look at what's happening to us, the people, whether we're in America or in Africa, because Africa is going through it too, with China and Russia and India, and the biometric system that they're trying to implement in Kenya. Anybody know about that? Anybody know? Nobody knows about that? They're getting ready to give everybody a digital identification number, and it's tied into your biometrics. Your facial recognition, your hand scan, your fingerprints. You get your number, you can travel, you can use your phone, you can use the bank, it's tied to healthcare. MasterCard is behind it. It's called the Fumu, some kind of number. Kenya, Dr. Mumbi talks about it. You know, anybody know Dr. Mumbi? So they're doing these things in India with the Aadhaar number, in Kenya with the Mumbu number, MasterCard, and global companies like Google, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, eBay, Amazon, Bank of America, they're all in on it. They're all in on it. And they're closing down the clamps. And they're fighting against anti-Semitism people and conspiracy folk, and you know, this basically people like us. that's on these channels. People are getting their channels deleted on YouTube, Facebook, they get put in Facebook jail, you know, all types of things. Instagram posts deleted, you know, they don't want this truth to come out. And so when these Hebrews and Eagles movies start to flood the system, it's just another reminder that we're waking up and they have to do more to distract us. Distraction with the media, with the news and the Super Bowl and this and the fight and who's dropping out, who had a baby, who's doing this, who's doing that. You know, so, you know, we just have to pay attention, keep an eye on things, but not really pay attention to the stuff that CNN gives us. Because CNN is just gonna lie. They're gonna lie and tell you all types of things. You know, even though the Jews are preparing to build the third temple, they have the Sanhedrin on the ground. Anybody know about that? The Sanhedrin for the 70 elders. So they're trying to do things. They're trying to, you know, muster up the return of their Messiah. And they want to build the temple. And there's a lot of things happening covertly between the Saudis, the Jews, and the European nations and the Vatican. And it all is tied into everything, including the mark of the beast system and the call for universal basic income, and also a biometric system, digital currency, digital ID for everybody, which is basically the mark of the beast. So community living, I mean, it's a lot, all that stuff that we talk about today that's important, because at some point you're gonna have to choose whether or not you're gonna keep following along with Babylon. And next minute they're gonna tell everybody you gotta get your face scan, your hand scan, your retinal scan, and this number. Otherwise you can't shop at Walmart, you can't go to the hospital, you can't go to school. They're making it mandatory for vaccinations in certain states. You cannot waive the vaccination waiver. Anybody know about that too? Certain states you cannot get a waiver, a religious waiver. So they're telling you you're gonna have to pull your sleeve up and get ready to stick your child with all these vaccines. No matter if you got children that are already autistic or have developmental delays and everything else going on and you're really against it. It's complete control. So I don't know where Yosef is at. Is there any quick questions?
This is something about face scanning. I never actually knew about that in finger recognition. How is that transforming the face?
Well, the Bible says that he causeth all, rich or poor, bond or free, great and small, to receive the mark of the beast in the number of the image, the number of his name. So there is an economic component that they're telling you in the book of Revelation. If you're not gonna, in order to eat and buy or sell or trade, you're gonna have something that's connected to biometrics. Now, when John had his revelation on the island of Patmos is right off the Aegean Sea near Turkey and Greece. What he saw, just picture it, he saw a right hand and some kind of a mark. This picture, when you get your vein scan, your hand map, you know, he's looking, but he's just seeing the vision. And whether he's seeing the left hand or right hand, you gotta put your hand down, you get your handprints and your fingerprints. And then when you saw the forehead, most of the times, if you look at the movies, when you're trying to open up a vault and you gotta use your facial recognition, you gotta put your head right there. And you can't really tell how close it is to your forehead, but it scans your eyeball, scans your face. So we don't know if people's just looking like, well, like, it looks like something's going on with their forehead. But facial recognition and retinal eye scans is all part of biometrics. And to do a true retinal scan, your forehead has to be aligned properly. It can't be like this, it can't be like this, you gotta be like this. Otherwise it won't scan both eyeballs. It has to be aligned. And so that could be possibly what John of Patmos saw. And we're leading that way right now. Like if anybody Googles Bank of America's CEO is demanding for digital currency, the bank, and he had an interview, he wants to go to a digital currency because most people don't really do transactions in the bank. You can deposit at the ATM machine. You can do everything on, you know, online banking with your mobile phone. So it's whether people like it or not, it's getting that direction. And when you look at Facebook and their cryptocurrency called Libra, anybody know about that? Yeah. Libra is backed by the blockchain, and the government is supposedly kind of okay with it, but certain companies are not okay with it. But it's backed by a lot of major companies. You know, so you got Bitcoin, you got Libra, you got Aadhaar, you got this thing going on. It's a lot of stuff going on.
Quick question. So I understand like land prophecy versus people prophecy in regards to, let's say like Jeremiah 50 and 51 with the sons of the Medes, the Most High stirring up their spirit. You said that maybe the present day Iranians aren't they, so who would fit into that category?
Well, I look at it like this. If the real Medes Persians fled when the Greeks invaded and other nations invaded, they fled to the east, such as Central Asia or northern parts of India. And at some point, if we're going to see these nations rising up against the Israelites, Gog and Magog, Libya, Cush, or in the Bible says Ethiopia, that we're going to see these nations. It could be India, it could be the descendants of people from Central Asia, it could be some of the people that are Cushites. In Kenya, you have a struggling battle between the Luos and the Kikuyu. The Luos are Cushites. Idi Amin was a Cushite. Anybody know Idi Amin? He was a Ugandan president. But if you ask Buganda, they say, well, Idi Amin wasn't a Bantus, he was a Nubian. Nubian's Cushite. So the people in ancient times that helped the Arabs find the Bantus Israelites in East Africa, a lot of them were Cushites. They said, here they go right there. You know, the Dinka tribe, all these other Cushite tribes, they were put on slave ships. They helped these other nations find the Israelites and enslave the Israelites in Mombasa and Somali and Ethiopia and Kenya and Mozambique and Tanzania, British East Africa, British West Africa. So when we look at Iran and Persia and Ashur, and we really got to be looking at the people that descendants from them. So in history, it says that the Greeks and all these other nations came into Mesopotamia and Iran, Persia, and these other people started going this way to the east. So when I think of that scripture in Gog and Magog, the bands of Togomoth, I'm thinking about the Jews, I'm thinking about Russians, the Chinese, I'm thinking about the British Commonwealth, the European Union, the same group of people, even the people in India, they kind of had a hand in slavery. So remember the British, the Pope was the one that issued a lot of those papal bulls, the Roman Pontifex and the Dumb Diverses, giving permission for people to enslave the Indians and the Negroes. And if you look at the bloodline, I ain't get to show on this, but if you look at the bloodline of the British royal family, Queen Victoria, they're Germans. They're Germans. In Germany, Germans, Scythians, Sarmatians, Donald Trump is a German. The Rothschilds are Germans. Even though they say they're Jews, they're all Germans. You can Google it. The Rothschilds are Germans. Donald Trump is a German. Look at his real name. And then also look at the British Commonwealth family. If you look at Queen Victoria and Leopold I, the King of Belgium, they were first cousins. They had pictures of them all standing together. And remember, King Leopold was the person that went to where? The Congo. And he killed over 10 million Israelites, chopping off their hands in the rubber industry. The Portuguese was coming into the Congo. The French was coming into the Congo. The Arabs were going to the Congo. That's why in the Congo they speak Kiswahili as well. So it's all connected. The Arabs, their genetic bloodline, it's all connected to Japhet, Gog and Magog, Edomite admixture, and then you have these other nations like Ashur and Persia when you think about India. Because in India, they're not too welcoming of black people in India. You know, they got a caste system, and black people are at the bottom. You know, the light-skinned Indians are at the top in the priestlyhood.
I remember one time in scripture study when we learned that taking mark of the beast wasn't actually like a digital thing. Because we learned about this, we learned in scripture study, we learned about that guy in the Catholic Church that ended up in his name, and he also represented numbers. He had a code, and this number actually stands for 3 6s.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm like giving in, actually becoming a Christian and believing in. One time in scripture study, we learned that, you know, taking mark of beast wasn't actually just a digital thing, like being a number. It was actually like, we learned about this Pope, and his number and his name actually stood for 3 6s. And we also learned that actually in the future, in times like these, are actually going to force us to become Catholic and turn their ways and denounce the Most High. We all know that we won't do that. But we also learned that becoming a Catholic and turning over to a different belief system when you're forced to, and denouncing the Most High, that could also be another form of taking the mark of the beast. And it's not just a digital thing, it's also a rural thing as well. And because there are also different forms of taking the mark of the beast.
You got one more in the back right there.
Let me answer that question real quick.
Go ahead.
So with the fourth kingdom, a lot of people say the fourth beast is Israel, and I had to hear all different things on that, but yeah, that's what they say. But when you really do a lot of research, it really points to the Latin Roman kingdom and the papacy. And in the old days, the Pharisees, when they will say that you blaspheme, because the Bible says that, and he shall speak great, he should wear it on the saints, blaspheme, all these different things. In terms of the Antichrist and the beast, he shall, in the Bible, blasphemy. Remember when Christ told the person your sins are forgiven? And the Jews said, this is blasphemous. How can you say that you can forgive sins? Well, the Pope can declare for 9 months we're going to pardon the sins of people that have abortion. He actually did that. He actually did that. The Pope actually says all the priests, everybody can pardon the sins of people that did this. So the Pope has a lot of power, and people believe the Pope. And the Pope has said a lot of things that are against, the Bible. They also changed, during the different councils, they changed the Lord's Day to Sunday. So a lot of things they did. So when you look at a lot of stuff, scarlet, colored beast, purple and scarlet, what color is the papacy? Scarlet and purple. All the kings of earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of earth have been drunk with the wine of fornication. And you look at all this stuff, the name of the beast is meant, a lot of people say it's meant for the Latin kingdom, and the number of his name is also meant for the Latin kingdom of Rome. Babylon, the great mystery, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. And when you do this number right here, in terms of these letters that make up the Latin kingdom in Latin, and you put it in Google Translate, it comes out Latin kingdom, the Roman kingdom. But there's a lot of different theories on the mark of the beast, the name, 666. But does anybody know also that Jews gave the Pope a seat in David's tomb? Anyone know about that? That's big time. But nobody paid attention to it. The public didn't really cover like that. So the Pope, remember the Arabs, they love the Pope. They kiss his hand and everything. The Pope comes to their Muslim, mosque meetings, and he does it. And he's also kicking it with the Jews. So the Pope, everybody respects the Pope. And we need to pay attention to a lot of times what the Pope and the Vatican and the European nations are doing, because you look at the European Union, the Brexit, all these different things, you gotta really pay attention to why they're allowing things to happen. Why are they allowing all these Arabs to go into Germany, different areas? Why are they allowing all these immigrants? Why are they trying to collapse these societies and cause all this chaos? It's all intertwined and connected, but you also gotta pay attention to the banking system and where they're moving, because they are moving to a digital system. And you know when you have a digital system, if you're not connected to the digital system like the movie showed you, you're just going to be living on the ground somewhere eating rats and stuff like that, because you don't want to conform to their system, and the robots will walk around and they're looking for you, trying to scan your eyeball and everything else in your hand. Oh, you're not in the system. Who are you? Throw them away. Who is this guy? So it's all these movies they show us is coming, and I believe that a lot of these movies, like Black Panther, Tarzan, Planet of the Apes, Get Out, all these different movies, they give you subliminal messages in the movies that show you that they're kind of talking about us, indirectly. Even that movie where they have like 24 hours to kill all black people, The Purge. I mean, they just keep showing it, and they keep showing you black people are the ones that's fighting for their life in the movie. So they kind of show you these things. And if you really look at a lot of this, a lot of directors are Jewish. Jewish, like I do it all the time. I just Google the directors. Like, man, just can't make this stuff up. One more question? Not in the next movie. that stuff is heavy. That stuff will make a lot of people mad, but I understand what you're saying, but that's some heavy information. I know the Watchman talks about it a lot, but that's heavy information. And I know we're out of time, but this basically is a video of the biometric system in Kenya. And you see the eyeball, the handprint? So it's happening. It's happening. Yep, so pretty soon the Kenyan government is going to force all the Kenyans to get into this biometric system to get their digital ID. And they're going to tie everything into the digital ID. And then eventually you're going to do away with cash. They already in Kenya, they got rid of I think the 1,000 shilling. They said that you had a period of time to return it because they're coming out with a new one. So that what that does is it forces people that have all these stacks of 1,000 shillings, like rich people or the underlords, they have to either spend the money in the Kenyan economy or they got to turn it back in. When they turn it back in, they know who you are and they can trace the money. How you got all this money? So they're doing away with certain currencies because the government can say, we're going to recall all the $100 bills. It's no good anymore. So nobody can accept $100 bills anywhere. And they can do that. They can recall all the 50s and the 100s, and then you only have 20s and 10s left, and that could be the transition to get people to use the chip cards and then the biometrics. They already do it in Sweden, a lot of countries in Europe, they don't even use cash. They just use the Apple Pay and put the chip card in and remove and all sorts of stuff. So it's coming. So we just gotta pay attention. And there's pilot programs launched in 15 countries. All the African nations are starting to conform to the Jews. And when the Chinese come to Africa, they're coming with their technology. And the Chinese are all for civilians. You know, you got basically the police state in China. You know, you got eyes all on you. And so, in addition to this, China and the United States are fighting for 5G technology in Africa. So they're both trying to, Facebook tried to get 5G in Africa. There's some pushback. China's trying to bring their technology and 5G into Africa. So once you get on 5G, there's no excuse why you can't be connected to your phone or to some kind of biometric scanner. Because essentially, the computers are the one, and the internet is the one that's going to be scanning everything. So if you want to go to the bank, get your money out the bank, the ATM machine, you just walk up, scan your face, scan your hand. That's you, that's your person, this was money in your bank account, and then you make your transaction. So we're getting to the state of the mark of the beast. So now it's time to start building communities and doing things. When you look at the Jamaican Maroons, anybody know who the Maroons are in Jamaica? The Maroons? The Maroons, they are like runaway kind of slaves that the Spanish was trying to capture them. And some of them live in South America. You have the Garifuna, but the Maroons also went to the Caribbean islands. And the reason why the Maroons and the Tainos escaped the Spaniards is because they would go into the deep forests of Jamaica, and you have like vines and stuff that would fall down over these waterfalls and different things. They would climb these vines up into the mountains where none of these troopers could come. And once you get above this area, it was like a whole nother area that no vehicles had access to, because in Jamaica you got like roads and stuff that you gotta know how to get to certain areas. And this is how they stayed away from the conquistadors and other people in their own land. They live just like the people in India, the black people in India, they live off the land. They don't go to the grocery store, really, if they don't have to, they live off the land. And like one of the guys out there was talking about the mangoes and all this. People are living with food on the trees, food on the ground, but we're so conditioned to go to the grocery store that we're like, oh, I'm starving. But there's food right here. There's food right here. You know, and you know, it's just, we have to get back to a way where we can learn how to survive without this system. Because once you're in the system, you know, it's gonna be hard for a lot of people, families. If you're a husband and you got a wife and you got 6 kids, and your kids are all hungry, you need formula, you need this, you need diapers, you need wipes, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do if the government says, well, you know, you gotta get this if you want this. You know, if you want to keep getting your EBT, you want to keep getting your SSI disability for your child, whoever, you want to keep getting Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, you gotta do what we tell you to do. And the government can't tell you what to do, and people will do it to get that government entitlement every month. Just think about that. We're not really self-independent. The government really, we're majorly dependent on the government and the currency system, big time.
Hallelujah. 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 I want to make a quick announcement. We have some more food over there. We're trying to get rid of it. We spent a nice amount of money, trying to make sure. So we got gold boxes over there. We have some more plates that's available. I think they have vegan options and different things that we had earlier. So if you want to maybe save a few dollars tonight, you can go back, grab you a box or a couple boxes, take back to your hotel room or wherever you're going. We're trying to get rid of all this food so we don't waste anything. Also, too, someone in the women's bathroom broke the seat in there. So now they got to be charged a Hakiosa. I don't know how much money. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. When we having these gatherings, we need people to be watching their children. We need people to be taking responsibility for what's going on. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes our people, we get together, we just get careless. Our children running around doing whatever. We're not even monitoring what's going on. So if we know if there's anybody in this room that don't have to fix toilets, it would be nice if you get my man in the back, if you could go if we could get all the women out of the women's room, if you could fix that toilet, man, that would mean a whole lot to me. That would help save me probably a couple $100 by doing that. Also, too, the bathrooms are a mess. There's toilet paper everywhere. We need somebody to take charge, man. This is not right, man. I shouldn't have to be saying this though, for real. I shouldn't have to do this. All right. So we need people to step up and take authority and get these bathrooms together. We need some ox to go in there and put some on your hands or grab a piece of paper and start picking that stuff up. We got to clean this room up. I got a vacuum in here and things of that nature. So the ox, whenever you can, if you can go back and check that out, that'll be a total y'all. I do appreciate everybody for coming out to the gathering. It's not over. We got tomorrow, we got the marketplace at the DoubleTree Hotel. This is your time to buy your garments, your soaps, your necklaces. Everything else is going to be sold there tomorrow. It's your time to be able to build, network, talk to your Mr. Khan. Also, we got the land experience. For those of you that want to go to a community, we'll be at the South Community from 3 to 7 p.m. tomorrow. We know some people are going to be leaving out, but if you want that experience, you definitely want to be able to hook up with Yasser Lanu and Elder Shamar. You want to be able to let them give you a tour of the land, be able to share some things with you that could be helpful, beneficial, to you possibly making a decision to join the community or to be able to start your own. All right? So once again, we appreciate each and every single one of you for making this event what it's been over the last couple of days. Come out tomorrow. Let's end this thing with a bang. I just want to say Shabbat Shalom.
I'll have my movies tomorrow if anybody wants to buy the movie Hebrews Negroes, Way Black America, but I only have it on Blu-ray right now. I have the regular DVD in about a month on the Negro Network website. So in about a month, if you go to www.the Negro Network, you can get the DVD on regular DVD, because I know some people don't have Blu-ray players. You can get the digital download on Amazon and Vimeo on demand. Yeah.
Hallelujah. And, one more thing, if you want to continue the gathering, I know the hotels that we had this time, the atrium room is not as big as the one in Louisville or the one in Cincinnati, but if you want to continue to gather, you can go to the lobbies of the Holiday Inn or the Fairfield, and the Clarion is right down the street. They do have a bigger atrium. So we will be in one of those 3 areas if you want to continue to build a fellowship with the Bishop Kai, or hopefully you got some phone numbers you can call some people and link up and continue to build. Hallelujah. So y'all. All right, y'all.
So yeah, y'all.
In the back room, these tables up.
We wrapping this up. It was awesome out here. Hey, we're wrapping it up here. It was an awesome event. I'm gonna have Ak Yosef just say shalom to y'all. Here, I'll bring him on.
Shalom, shalom, Yasharal. Man, we just had a wonderful few days. Michael Israel, I told y'all for him being able to catch this live footage. I'm telling you, if you're missing these gatherings, you just really don't know what you're missing out on. A lot of powerful information. He went into relationships, breaking down things in the scriptures, had people in here really wanting more. Judah Mack bringing a fireball lesson about brotherly love. You got Ron Dalton that just went for about 2 hours straight about history, historian on steroids. I mean, we got the men just building, our coach building, nothing but love, nothing but unity. It's been a good time. We even got more tomorrow. If you're in the area, you want to come out to the marketplace, the Hebrew marketplace. You want to buy your garments, your chains, your necklaces, your soaps, everything that the Hebrews sell. We're going to be at the DoubleTree tomorrow, Murfreesboro. If you want to come on down and support, come on down and support. Spend money with your Mishpachah. Till the next time, we say, shalom, shalom.
Shalom, y'all.